Hey guys, I hope you're doing it well. Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to a brand new video. I feel like it has been forever, but I think I missed, was it 1 or 2 weeks? Because we went to Pembrokeshire with my family, and obviously that just means that like I had just had more work to do, and yeah, that was pretty much that. So yeah, I haven't posted in, I think it's 2 weeks. It's definitely not more than 2, it's either 1 or 2. But yeah, we are back, and we are back with a what I eat in a day video slash little kind of like life updates, because I feel like obviously recently I've posted a lot about, you know, your higher self, about kind of like, you know, my kind of fat loss, my most recent fat loss deficit, and things like that. So yeah, I thought I would just take you through a day in the life, kind of in a reverse dieting phase. Now, I'll be completely honest, this is not a very structured reverse diet for me, because I came out of my dieting phase and we then had a lot of things on. Like, we've had a lot of social occasions, like I said, we've been away, like there's been a lot of things to contend with, and obviously the benefits of being in a reverse diet mean that you are a lot more flexible. So my plan was to literally, initially I increased by 250 calories, but then also accounting for kind of like 2 days untracked where I was definitely over that. So I would say on average within the first week I probably jumped up by about kind of like 400 calories straight off the bat, and then obviously I had another week of kind of tracking the same calories, so that same 250 difference, but again with another weekend of kind of being higher. So I would say on average over the first kind of like 3 weeks I probably increased my calories by like 400, 500. This week I am tracking it again just to kind of be able to go, okay, these are my calories and this is the impact that it has. So again, I can just roughly see where I'm at, and then I'm hoping to kind of just wrap up the reverse diet within the next couple of weeks. To be honest, I say reverse diet, like I said, it's very unstructured just because there has been so much going on, but I've pretty much maintained exactly where I was, which I'm super happy with. Last time I weighed, I was like 0.3 kg heavier than the end of my deficit, which I'm really happy with, and yeah, I'm feeling good. So all in all, it is really good. So that is pretty much that. So I will kind of like, as this video goes on, be talking a little bit more about kind of like reverse dieting as well, because I know that I always get questions about kind of like how that works. But yeah, I'll have a chat about that throughout the day. But right now, it's time to go make a coffee. Right then, it is time for breakfast. Did you want honey with yours as well?
Yeah, please.
Banana on toast, yogurt, chia seeds, stunning. Why does it smell like something's cooking? But it's not. Is it just the bread packet?
Might be.
There we go, breakfast. We've got the perfect mix of protein, carbs, healthy fats. It is now the afternoon and lunch is served, and wow. So I have got like a chicken and halloumi harissa rice combo thing that I meal prepped yesterday, and it is so good. Like, I love meal prep. I just love being able to go in the fridge, get my food out, and it's all sorted. But guys, before I talk about my meal, we have just booked a holiday. We go in 4 days, 5 days, 4 days, 5 days? What day are we now? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. On the 5th day, we go in 5 days. We go on Tuesday. I'm so excited. I literally cannot wait. It was a last minute one, and we were literally just like, let's just go. Let's just go. So yeah, that is very exciting. But yes, this is my meal prep, which is actually a little bit hot at the minute, I think. It's okay. It tastes really nice, to be fair. Anyway, while I'm here, I thought I'd run you through the supplements that I take, because I haven't done a little supplement update in a while, and I'll be honest, I've stripped them back quite a lot. purely just because I got like gifted some supplements. I got kind of like new ones to try, and yeah, we're basically just back to basics. So first thing we got is the essential multivitamin. Just as a side note, if you do want any discount on Protein Works products, you can use my code Amber. But yes, we got these essential multivitamins, which to be honest, I get a lot of my vitamins and minerals and nutrients through food, but obviously there are times in which, you know, I eat a lot of the same food, so I'm probably lacking like little things, and you know, there are days in which I probably don't get as much nutrients in as I need, so sometimes it's just nice to have that little top up. I also take omegas because as much as I do eat fish, I don't eat enough of it, and obviously omega-3s and fish oil are really, really important for, you know, heart health, eye health, like brain health, literally so many different things. And again, it's not something that I get enough of in my diet, so I need to supplement it. I also then take these my vitamins, hair, skin and nail gummies, because number one, they taste incredible, but number two, I genuinely see a difference when I take them. I stopped taking them when I ran out, like in between running out and getting new ones, and yeah, I feel like I definitely have seen a difference like since I started taking them. So I got 3 bottles at a time because I get them from Costco, so the 60 gummies, that's like 3 months worth, and yeah, I definitely noticed a difference. They obviously contain like, you know, vitamins and stuff, but they contain biotin, selenium and zinc as well, which obviously aren't in any of my other vitamins, so I would definitely recommend them. And then I also every day, yeah, that's pretty much all I take every day in terms of actual like tablet form. And then obviously I also have creatine as well every single day. To be honest, I say every single day. It's only when I was like away and stuff, I just stopped taking it, and it's something that I'm back on now. Now I'm training again. So yeah, that is my creatine. My most recent Protein Works order arrived yesterday, and aside from topping up on my supplements, I also, which I'm very excited to try, got this. So this is the new electrolyte. So it is summer orange flavour, and I'm just very excited to try it because I love an electrolyte. I am an electrolyte girly. Because obviously when you drink a lot of water, it's all well and good, but when you're sweating out like salts and stuff. So when you're just drinking water, you're not then replacing those salts. So that's what this does. And then I also stocked up on some little protein bars as well, because why not? But yeah, that is pretty much kind of like food, supplements. I feel like I need a little like life update, but also this video was not meant to be a life update, so we probably won't, but just briefly, because I know that obviously I mentioned before that I'm still doing my half marathon training. Yesterday was the first run I have done in 5.5 weeks. So obviously I've spoken a lot about my calf injuries. My calf injuries basically, or like, you know, niggles, basically led to a flare up in my knee. So I had like a really old existing knee injury that flared up really badly, and has meant basically I haven't been able to train, run, train lower, anything in like 5.5 weeks. I did go out yesterday, I did a 4K and was really happy with how it went even, but I basically now got to make the decision. So it is the, I think it's like the 8th of May. I'm meant to be running the marathon on the 8th of June. So I basically got to decide what I want to do. To be honest, I don't really have to decide, because the deferral, I paid like £42 for my space. The deferral is like £30. So honestly, like for the sake of £10, because you have to go and get like a medical note and like go to the doctors and stuff to defer your place. So I probably won't bother. I'll probably just try and sell it like closer to the time. Or like, you know, just not run it, because it's not like spaces are limited, like there are still tickets available now. So yeah, that is basically my like update with my running. I've just got to see how things go over the next few weeks. I'm going to attempt a long run, I think. Well, I was going to do it next week, but now I'm going on holiday. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to go and enjoy my meal prep. It is now time for a little late afternoon snack. Would you call it late afternoon, or would you call it evening?
Yeah,
10 to 6. Really fancying some chocolate.
is evening after 6 for you?
Yeah, I suppose evenings after 6, so it's 10 to 6, so late afternoon snackle. Roro, have you had a late afternoon snack? You had an early afternoon snack, didn't you? Oh, baby girl. We got to have a bit of chocolate, and we. You had some chocolate the other day, dark chocolate. I blinked and now all of a sudden it is 5 to 9. What is that on my screen? Anyway, I am about to cook dinner, so we are having the viral cottage cheese beef mince bowl, whatever you want to call it, but I failed it for the second time. I went to make it 2 weeks ago and I forgot to buy mince, so I literally just had it without the mince, which is, you know, a staple ingredient. And then today I have not bought sweet potato, but it's actually okay because I've got potatoes that obviously now need using because we're going away next week. So let's make it whilst I have a little chat about reverse dieting. So reverse dieting is obviously the process in which you basically increase your metabolism again after a deficit phase. So obviously when you're in a calorie deficit, your body will adapt. So, you know, once you've been doing something for a certain amount of time, you will start to plateau. Like say, for example, you start off by doing X amount of calories and let's say X amount of steps. This obviously is quite a big deficit. Over time, your body is going to adapt to those things. So it's going to slow down your processes. So where a deficit was now this much, it's now going to be this much because you're burning less energy, like you're burning less energy during digestion, your body's processes are slowing down. So obviously you have to then, that's why you have to kind of keep dropping things down within a calorie deficit, obviously, which is why it's really important not to start off too low because you then haven't really got anywhere to go. So yeah, obviously you're consuming less, so you're digesting less, you're burning less calories through digestion. Also as well, generally your energy levels are lower, so you generally do less movement, like, you know, day to day. Not in terms of like, you do more active movement, but in terms of like fidgeting, moving around a little bit, so you're going to be less likely to do that because, you know, especially towards the end of a calorie deficit phase, you haven't got that energy to do it. Plus your body's processes will slow down, or your body will adapt so that you're not using as much energy for those processes. So essentially, obviously, let's say you come to the end of your deficit phase, you do not have to stay on those calories forever, which is a big misconception that people have. And to be honest, I think most people don't necessarily struggle with losing weight, they actually struggle with maintaining that weight loss because they don't go through a deficit phase. So a deficit phase, through a reverse dieting phase. So a reverse dieting phase is where you essentially, number one, you would look at what sort of deficit you're in. So if you are in, I would say, anywhere between 300 and 500, you can probably jump back up pretty quickly. And this is 300 to 500 below your maintenance. So your maintenance calories are going to be the calories needed to maintain your weight. So often people, again, will they'll kind of get this wrong and they'll think it's just exercise. It's not. It is your body's processes, it is your everyday movement, it is your metabolism, it is your, you know, keeping you alive. Like your brain burns calories to keep you alive. Your heart needs calories to beat, like your body needs energy to function. Plus then obviously the movement you do and things like that are all, you know, and then obviously like, you know, extra activity and stuff, that is all your calories burned during the day. So obviously if you're consuming the same amount of calories, you are going to maintain your weight. So essentially reverse dieting is building your calories back up to a suitable maintenance phase. So let's just say for argument's sake, you go down to about 1600 calories in a deficit. So for example, I went down to about 1600 calories in my last deficit. My maintenance calories, I would say, are around 2300. Now, obviously, if I jump that straight away, that's going to be a big jump. That's going to have a big impact on my, sorry, I'm swinging this knife around. That's going to have a big impact on my digestion. I'm going to feel sluggish. It's going to be a lot. So what I do instead is build it up. So you would essentially increase your calories by, let's say, 100 to 200. Let's say 200, yeah? If you increase your calories by 200 every single day, so for example, week one, you have an extra 200 calories. So Monday, extra 200, Tuesday, same number, Wednesday, same number. And then you get to the end of the week, or maybe even 2 weeks, depends, you know, on how your body, you know, how you find it. And then you jump another 200. And essentially you keep building this up until you get to a point where your weight plateaus. Now, obviously this is where kind of taking weight is really important because you want to make sure that you're looking at your average weight across the week. You're not just looking at one measurement because we know that that is just not accurate. So I essentially would recommend weighing daily, taking an average across the week. And when you get to a point where your body plateaus, or, you know, roughly for like at least 2 weeks, I would say, that's when you know you've kind of hit your maintenance calories. And often this will be a lot higher than people think it is. So yeah, that is essentially the process. But obviously what you have to consider as well is it's not just about your calorie intake. Obviously, you know, you will also have to account for your exercise. So obviously a lot of people, when they're in a deficit, that is a combination of the calorie number that you're on and the exercise that you're doing. So obviously when you then increase your calories, you also then have to kind of take into account your exercise. So for example, I would probably initially jump up by say 200 calories and drop my steps by like 1,000. Obviously this is all going to depend on your starting point as well. You know, if you're starting on like 15,000 steps, you can probably afford to drop it a little bit quicker. But if you're starting on something like, you know, 8 to 10, you probably need to drop it a little bit slower, because you're realistically not going to be able to drop loads, because again then obviously that, you know, that would again mean having to drop food really low. So essentially you've got your calories plus your like movement, and you want them to kind of, you know, you want them to almost like complement each other. Do you know what I mean? So when you're going into a deficit, you will probably increase your steps a little bit, and then you'll drop your food a little bit, and then what you'll do is probably either increase your steps or drop your food. You won't keep doing both at the same time. You'll do kind of like one then the other, then one then the other, because that's just the best way to elicit that deficit without kind of feeling like you're doing loads of exercise and not eating much food. So when you then reverse that, you essentially do the opposite. So you would maybe drop steps down a little bit, or drop activity down a little bit, bring up food a little bit, drop that down, bring that up a little bit. So again, then you're just getting to a really good maintenance point, and that's a really important thing to remember as well. Is so what I would personally do is just like a rough guide. If you are in a deficit of 300 to 500 calories, I would initially jump up by 300 calories and I would maintain roughly the same amount of steps. I would maintain that for roughly kind of a week, week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks. Take my weight daily, see how things are moving. Now don't forget as well, your maintenance is going to be a range. It's not going to be that same number. You are essentially going to be, like, I like to think of maintenance as a fluctuation of like 3 kg. So like I'm quite happy with 1.5 to 2 either side of the kind of number where I'm currently at. Then what you would do is maybe, what did I say first of all? Increase your calories. Then maybe what you would do is drop your activity down, stay on the same calories. Then maybe what you would do is increase your calories a little bit more, keep activity where it is, and you kind of just keep doing that. Now it doesn't have to be a long drawn out process. Like I said, if you're between 300 to 500 calories, I would say that within kind of like 3 to 4 weeks you can reverse properly. If you're obviously in a bit of, you know, the bigger deficit you're in, the longer it's going to take you to reverse. But as long as you are kind of doing what you need to do, and I would hand on heart say this, if you are taking it as seriously as you take your deficit, in terms of you are tracking, you are being consistent, you're hitting your targets, you will reverse effectively and you will be able to maintain so much easier. If you don't take your reverse that seriously, now I know that I started this video by saying like I'm not, but I have a really good gauge of what I'm consuming. I know that I'm still getting my movement in. I know that I'm, you know, I know the activity that I'm doing. I roughly know the intake that I'm getting as well. So even though I'm not religiously tracking, I know roughly where I'm at. So yeah, that would be my biggest tip, is take your reverse diet as seriously as you take your deficit phase, because it'll make your life a million times easier. And you will be so much more likely to maintain it as well, like so much more, because you do not need to stick on low calories forever. You can increase it, you can get a much higher maintenance range than you think it will, and you can live your life. But essentially, obviously as well, what your maintenance is going to be is going to depend on many different factors, you know, not just the movement that you do and, you know, the food that you consume, but also as well, you know, what's your everyday movement like? Are your steps generally quite low? Do you have an office job that's quite sedentary? You know, how much muscle mass do you have? Like a lot, you know, one of the reasons that my maintenance is where it is, even though I'm only 5'2", is because I've got quite a lot of muscle mass, which obviously muscle burns more calories than fat does. You know, a pound of muscle and a pound of fat, a pound of muscle is going to burn more calories than a pound of fat is. So therefore my BMR is higher. So your BMR is your basal metabolic rate, which is essentially the calories you burn just to stay alive. So even if you didn't move all day, your body would still burn a really good number of calories, over 1,000 calories generally, to keep you alive, to keep, you know, because essentially this all takes energy. Your heart pumping takes energy, your brain thinking takes energy, blinking takes energy, like everything takes energy. So your body obviously has to have energy for that. Yeah, I don't think I've explained that very well, but I'm sure I've done a more extensive video on reverse dieting, so please go and give that a look if you haven't already, and if what I've said makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I have got a bit of a manky bag of salad that I might just chuck into this, otherwise it's going to go off. I also need to cut up my pineapple. Does anyone else have this problem? I bought pineapple, I either got it too soon or too far gone. I've only think once ever got it like bang on and it was incredible. Other than that, I don't know when you're meant to cut it. Right, so what do I need to do? Right, let's put the salad in the bowls. I'm actually going to try to put my mince in the air fryer as well, so I don't need any cutlery. Not cutlery, hands. Right, let's cut this avocado. Also, if you're someone who needs to weigh out your like sauces spreads, sauce is probably easier to do it not this way, but if you're weighing out things like yogurt and stuff, put it on the scales, set it to 0, and then you can weigh it as you're scooping it out. The lighting for that is awful, which is why it's here, but you're on my big tripod, so the angles are shit. Also, cottage cheese, game changer. Absolute game changer. It is so versatile, and I just love it. Like, I could literally just eat it like that. I did also have it with honey the other day. Like, I literally ate a pot of this with honey on, and it was incredible. And I think there's 30 grams of protein in this and 180 calories. I feel like this vlog's really boring. I feel like I started it and then got caught up in the excitement of booking a holiday, then got caught up in obviously having to organise my busy work schedule so I can go on holiday next week, and all of a sudden it's 9:15. But we move. Oh, you meant to do the mince with tomato puree. Oh, do you know what? We'll make it work. We'll do what we want. Actually, I'll put that over potatoes as well, I think. What a good avocado. Anyone else get absolutely obsessed with avocado years ago and then ate so much of it that you never want to see it again? Because that's literally what I did. Until last week, I don't think I'd had avocado in about 4 years. I'm going to do this and then cut up my pineapple. But, no, obviously my targets, my goals, everything are very, very personal to me. But I just want to show you how easy it is to hit your protein target, because I have hit 155 grams of protein today in the 3 meals that I've had. I honestly hit my protein without even thinking about it, and I think it's something that people overcomplicate so much. Like, when people are like, oh, I can't, like, number one, protein is not just for people who like train, it is for everyone. But number two, protein is not just, most people will kind of go, oh, I need more protein, right, let me get my protein yogurts, let me get, which can be really good by the way, but let me get my protein snacks, my protein bars and things like that. But actually, you can literally get the majority, you can get all of your protein through your diet so easily, literally just by adding a protein source to your meals. So for example, if you had 150 gram chicken breast for lunch and you had, let's say, 150 grams of mince, you have automatically hit 100 grams of protein pretty much without literally doing anything else. So always try and build your meals around your protein source. So if you look at like how much protein you need per day, literally look at how you can split that up. So like personally for me, I normally have like 50 grams, 45-50 grams between lunch and dinner, and then I'll have like 30-40 grams within like, no, probably like 25 grams within breakfast, or like a higher protein breakfast and then not have a snack, or I'll have a yeah, like a 25 gram breakfast and like a 20 gram snack. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're already eating a protein source, like for example, you've got chicken in your food, just have more chicken. If you've got mince in your meals, swap it for 5% and have more of it. Like that way then you're also filling up and you're giving your body all the protein that it needs, which is going to be a game changer, and it is life-changing for your hunger. So yeah, that is my biggest tip as well. Whether you're dieting or reverse dieting, do not neglect your protein. It is not as complicated as it sounds. Literally build your meals around your protein source. Eggs, turkey, chicken, mince, tuna, fish, salmon, Greek yogurt, game changer. And all the different variations of those things as well. Easy. This is the finished product and it looks stunning. How excited are you?
Very.
That bad boy.
Good grief. What have we got? What have we got then? Talk me through.
So, mince with seasoning, cottage cheese and honey, avocado, load of potatoes, and salad because it needed using.
What do you think, Rose? Is that nice?
Think? Rose, you approve? Do you approve me, mate? Yeah, of course you do.
Just pang.